I just bought $20,000 worth of this month's Singapore Savings Bonds, and I'm just gonna be out of pocket by only $1,500. Stay tuned, I'll explain why. But first, I still need to explain to you why I believe that rates for Singapore Savings Bond is likely going to drop, correct? I understand the headline news reads that Fed overnight rates are flat, not dropping. But do note also, the US 10-year Treasury rates have been trending downwards in November 2023 and trending down quite aggressively. The total decline is about 0.5% from its peak just a month ago. I've also found something very interesting about the US dollar. This is the US dollar index, and you'd realize also that it's been trending down in the last 1 month. Is the world now in consensus that US has to reduce its rates sooner rather than later? I'll leave that speculative idea with you, and let's move on next to what really impacts Singapore savings bonds, which is the 10-year Singapore government bond rate. This trends very similarly to the US 10-year Treasury rate, and what we see also is almost an identical 0.5% massive drop. Singapore savings bonds rates follow this very closely, and if it's the first time you are listening in and understanding the Singapore savings bonds, short form SSB, let me do a quick recap for all. SSB is a bond that has a 10-year maturity. That's why it trends closer to the Singapore 10-year government bond. The capital is guaranteed at all times. You heard it correct? All times. Which means you can sell out at any time and your principal and accrued interest will be paid to you. So let's pull up this month's issue as an example. You'll see that if you keep there for 1 year, you will earn 3.3%. And this 3.3% is actually paid in half-yearly coupons. Anytime along this tenure that you wish to withdraw, you can do so at any time. And if you hold to a total 10 years, your average return will be 3.4% per annum. That's so good, correct? Anytime you want to leave, you can leave. Anytime you want to keep there, you are guaranteed a pretty good rate. That's why I've always mentioned on this channel, Singapore Savings Bonds is quite likely a free lunch. And sharing with you, help me smash the like button so we can reach a bigger audience together. And press on the subscribe so that in future, if there are further updates on this particular savings vehicle, I will share them with you right here. This free lunch of course needs a cap, correct? And it's 200,000 per person. To buy the Singapore Savings Bonds, you need a CDP account to hold the bond, and you can actually purchase it using iBanking with DBS, OCBC or UOB. Take note again, each buy or sell transaction is $2. On this rapid decline in long-term rates, just now I showed you this Singapore government 10-year bond chart. It's almost a 0.5% drop for November 2023. But wait, do you see something? Is this the first ever rapid drop? Actually not quite, correct? Because on the left, you would see from March 2023, there was also a rapid decline. Can we see some evidence of it? Yes, and stay tuned for it. But I'd like to show you yet another example of a decline. If we pull a 3-year chart, you would realize that March 2023 was a big decline and November 2022 was also a big decline. Interest rates are quite volatile. It's not as stable as it once be. So let's look for clues on what kind of impact on the rates for next few months Singapore savings bonds. I've indicated in the red arrows over there, which I'd like to draw attention. In March 2023, what is being issued is April 2023. We should see that as a high in terms of rates offered. What is offered at start of November 2022 is actually the December 2022 issue. We should also see that as a peak cycle for Singapore savings bond rates. So without further ado, let me show you the homework that I've done. This maps the April, May and June issue, which you saw was a declining few months ahead. Indeed, the April 2023 issue was a peak. The 10-year rate dropped from 3.15% on average to 3.07% and eventually to 2.81% only in June 2023. Then what about December 2022 issue, which was also a peak? We would see that rates actually fell from 3.47% on average to 3.26% to 2.97% and eventually to 2.90% for a 10-year average return in March 2023. That entire decline was 0.57% average returns. The short-term rates also dropped from December all the way to March, declining by 0.5% also. Speaking about this point, you should also know that Singapore Savings Bond long-term rates are always going to be higher than the 1-year rates. If the long-term rate comes down, the 1-year rate will also have to come down. Quite simply because if the 1-year rate is higher than the 10-year rate, nobody would stay, correct? Everybody will just, after 1 year, recycle away to the next issue's 1 year and get higher rates. So understanding that recycling process, let me show you exactly what I've done. This is the reason why I'm only net out of pocket of $1,500. I've actually redeemed my wife's July 2022 issue. And she actually had $18,500 in that issue. If I'm not wrong, that issue was oversubscribed and that was the max being given. This amount will be paid back on 1st of December 2023. And it cost $2 just to do that redemption. Then what I did for her was to actually buy 20,000 of this December 2023 issue, which will pay this higher rate. Again, we have to pay $2 for the transaction fee. And that's why net 20,000 out, 18,500 coming back very soon. We have only net invested 1,500 into Singapore Savings Bonds. This is the free lunch recycling idea that I mentioned a lot of times on this channel. And let me share with you my rationale. On the bottom is July 2022's rates. On the top is December 2023's rates. You would see that we are on the second year for the July 2022, and that pays 2.65%. Leaving that ship and coming on board to this new one immediately gives me an extra 0.65% per annum rate already. Both are fully guaranteed anyway. Not just that, in this process, I'm locking 1 more year of guaranteed returns, just in case future interest rates drop again. This guaranteed high return might become very valuable. I am guaranteed on the 10-year 3.68% if I keep it till then. Then in this process, I pay $2 to sell the old bond and pay $2 to buy the new bond. This extra $1,500, maybe we just see as some forced saving for a rainy day. If you also have some Singapore Savings Bonds that you want to recycle, or if you like to purchase for yourself Singapore Savings Bonds, do note closing date is 27 November 2023. I understand the time I'm producing this, there's very little time left. Hopefully it's still enough time to impact you and help you get some free extra returns. I have a quick message to mention also. History has also shown that interest rates could yet again climb upwards. There is no guarantee that interest rates will go one directionally downwards. So if it does go up again, what we can do is just to recycle for something better in future, correct? Win-win situation. That's why it's so good. With that, I'll sign from here and invite you to some of my previous tutorials. The first is a full breakdown on how to build a Singapore Savings Bond ladder. Check that out because I think it's very interesting for your retirement. Or if you have seen it, let me share with you this tutorial on why I do not think it's a good idea to keep too much cash. I'll see you in either of these and sign up from here. Take care as always. Goodbye.